Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video we're starting off with we're going to have a wee look at our crops and how they're doing now that the first of the winter barley is in the ground a couple of weeks. This is a chance just to have a wee look at it, see what's what, see is there any slug or pest damage going on, see has all the rain over the last week done any harm, and also see how the drilling went. It's my first time drilling and first time with the front press, and just checking it out to see where have I made mistakes, because there's always going to be some mistakes when you start off at any of these jobs. And I'll put the drone up. I'm going to take a wee bit of drone footage and I'll do a voiceover on that, and we'll have a look at it all from the sky. But just looking at here on the ground, there is no sign of any slug damage, which is good. Yeah, what you're looking for is where the crop is all coming up, is there any sign of the crop being chawed off any bits of the plant, and there is no sign of that, so that's a good thing. It has all struck well. Down here on the hill, or off the hill I mean, looks pretty good, no sign of any misses, but I can see a couple of misses up on the hill, so I'm going to put the drone up and if we look and see. I know that at the start, this is the first field that I drilled, and I know at the start using the front press on the side of the hill the tractor was struggling to stay on line, it was veering off it, so I did go back and re-sow a couple of bits, but I know there's going to be misses up there. So I'll put the drone up, we'll have a wee look at that. This was one of the wet areas last year. There's still a little bit of water lying there, but overall it's not too bad. It's coming up mostly around that area. It's a lot better than last year, and I could see a little bit of water earlier on just driving down the lane down the bottom end of this field, so I'm expecting there'll be some water down there. Now we didn't sow it all, so yeah, I'm not too worried about the very bottom of it, but yeah, overall looks good. I'm happy with how this top end of it looks. So yeah, I think we'll get the drone up and we look at it from the sky and see what we think of it from there. Alright, so this is kind of like the moment of truth here, because this is the first time I've got to get the drone up and have a little look around and see where I made all my mistakes when I was drilling. And it's not too bad. It's not too bad. There is one missing set of tram lanes I see here, which I'm not sure why that is, but that's only minor enough, I wouldn't mind that. One of the things that you'll see here, see there's a couple of little misses here. We're kind of flying over one of them there. They're all kind of on the sides of hills. I realised more or less by the time I had this field done, again look at them here now coming to the end on the hill, I realised that if there's a hill, you better just put a little bit of a lift up on your furrow press, and it'll allow the tractor to steer and stay on line a lot better. So it's kind of a bit of a learning curve for me, because it is the first drilling I've done as such, or any amount of it. But overall it's not too bad at all. I'd be quite happy with it. There is a few other wee things up on the top of the hill. We'll have a look at them when we get up there. This now down the bottom, I actually didn't sow this area down the bottom because, well, you see why. It was flooded last year, it's flooded again this year, so I kind of it's sowed round that wet spot, so I've more or less kept in the right spot. Again, fairly good here. There's two sets of tram lanes here quite close together, but that's not the end of the world. Here now on this hill is where I have made a couple of bits of mistakes on it, and as I say, it was a learning curve just trying to get that right. But the rest of it, as you can see, the further down the field I got, the better it got. I started back up there at that hill, which wasn't ideal. I probably should have started over a bit. This field here, there's about 10 acres in it, and no issues on it whatsoever. It's very few misses or anything in it. This field out at the back, you can see it was sowed at 2 different times. We were rained off. That's the field we got rained off on, trying to get it sowed one Tuesday evening, and the rain come down and rained us off. So you can see there's part of it is further on than the rest. And this was the other big field, which we had about 4 acres of it last year that didn't grow because of the wet. Now there is the wet, You can see it's sitting there in a couple of places in the middle of it, but it's nothing like last year. And it's just about, you can see a little bit of a green tint of it. It's just starting to peep up above ground. This is the section here. We were drilling that when we got rained off, and then you can see where we started drilling again. It was about a week later. So that's the difference in a week's worth of growth. Also, the first stuff here that we're flying over that was sown initially, that had 3 or 4 days of 20 degrees heat when it went in, so it jumped out of the ground, and you can see it's well established. Lads, the rain that has fell in the last 24 hours is just ridiculous. We looked at yesterday morning, we looked at the crops. From yesterday evening, it just hasn't stopped. It is crazy. I've been over for a little bit of drone footage. Just have a little look at it. Here it is, the field that we done the silage bales in last week. I think it was actually this day last week that we mowed the grass down, and it sat for a day or so, and then we got it all baled up. So bit of a difference this week. You wouldn't be doing much mowing. There's 12 acres in this field. I'd say close to 5 acres of it is on the water, so it just kind of shows the amount of rain that we've had over the last few days. And you can see there, if you look off in the distance, see all the rain there coming in again. Yeah, I only had the drone down and it started to rain again. Just do a little bit of a look around and go the other side of the main road here, and yeah, just gives you an idea just how much that the river has bust its banks right the whole way back up. So yeah, nice scenery, but it'd be nicer if all that water wasn't out on it. So just glad that we're not having to do any baling this week, and that we got that done and dusted out of the way. The other thing we've been doing, I have a bit of a mess to clean up here. We were doing a herd test today. Again, was supposed to be last week, ended up having to get cancelled because of the weather. There was a small break in the weather this morning for a few hours, and it just let us get the herd test done, so we didn't get that wet, which is always good. But yeah, we'll have to read them off now again on Friday. So I have a bit of tidying up to do. It's not too bad. The rain has probably washed some of it away, but a few big bits of dung and muck that I just have to clean up, and a bit of scraping to do in the pen. So we'll do that now and get that done before we start doing any feeding or anything like that. The other thing that I have to do, and I'll maybe video when I'm doing it, I have to clear out, move this trailer, and I want to clear out our bedded pen outside that'll hold 3-4 lame cattle or sick cattle or anything like that, because we have 1 or 2 that might be going into it, that's on the top shed on rubber, so we might move them down onto the straw. So I'm going to clean that out as well. So a few wee jobs to do, and I'll kind of take you along just as we're doing that. probably the easiest this is ever going to be cleaned, because the rain is helping us, kept it nice and soft, and it's actually started to wash some of it here already. So if we keep it water, we'll see how far it goes. It should be enough, I'd say, to wash it out. We'll open up and get going with it. So the heavy rain arrived just as we started to wash it down to give us a hand. Not that we needed it, but anyway, it arrived. That'll make, it's just cleaned the yard nicely. It's not spotless, but it's grand. The cattle will be back out on Friday to get rid of, so yeah, it'll do until then. Plus, there's cattle still coming and going. We're almost have the numbers that we want. There's a few more still to come, I suppose, just to fill up one of the pens. But yeah, there's still some cattle coming. They arrive then, they get vaccinated and warmed and all that kind of stuff, so it doesn't have to be spotless clean. But yeah, nearly there. I'm just running the last bit of water out of this, and it'll do 100%. Just finished sweeping up and tidying up, so yeah, not too bad. Looks a bit more respectable than it did. Rain is continuing to fall down, quite heavy. It's like that most of the day, on and off. The floor here, you can see it's getting quite hard to dry out at the minute. A good bit of rain comes in here on the space sheeting in this shed, or spaces on the sheeting. There's a slightly wider space than I think on this shed than some of the other ones that we have, because we have two other sheds with spaces on the sheeting, and it's not really that big of an issue, but this shed here seems to be more of an issue, just with rain getting in. Not large amounts, but just keeps everything a little bit on the damp side. The plus side of it is that there's probably a bit more ventilation with it, the fact that there's a slightly bigger gap, so you'd put off probably with a bit of dampness the fact that you have that extra ventilation. But yeah, just going to take now a bit of drying just to dry that out. Anyway, on to the next job. I'm going to clear out this pen, as I said. This is it's just a small pen that we have outside in front of the silage pit. We can put 3 or 4 animals in it, sick animals, lame animals, whatever. And there was animals in it up until roughly around June, I think. There was a couple of ones that had sore feet and they were in there getting fed on beef ration until they went to the factory. So I know it was cleared out a couple of weeks before that they went, so there's not that much in it, but at the same time we'll get cleared out now. Even if we don't put anything in it for a few days, if we get it cleared out now, we can let it sit. It'll dry out somewhat. I'm sure it'll dry out at some stage with the way the weather is. It should still dry out in the next couple of days, and then we can put a fresh bed down on it and it's ready to go then when needed. So Alright, so we just finished clearing that out, and yeah, ground it clean. Just going to leave it now for a day or so just to let it dry out. Probably lime it, and then we'll bed it, and then it's ready to go, ready to be used when needed. As I said, we might have 1 or possibly 2 that we might put into it, just for a wee while, just until they had a little bit of sore, just feet issues, which is normal. You always get 1 or 2, especially if they're bulls and they go in. There's always a little bit of fighting and messing around with them when they go in. You always end up with 1 or 2 with sore feet. So you have to have somewhere to put them just for a few weeks usually, and then they can be introduced back into the pens they come out of. You can probably hear the calves are still bawling away. They're just about starting to settle down. A little bit of bawling. They're probably hungry now at this stage. It's that time now of the evening where it's feeding time. So I'll do that now in a few minutes. So that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the sub button, to leave a like in the video, and to comment down below if you have any questions or comments to make. I do read all the comments, and all those interactions are very much appreciated. Until the weekend video, we will most likely be doing some feeding. We're going to be putting in the heifers. The rest of the cows and calves are going in, so we'll maybe get a bit of footage of that, or have a look at them when they're in there, and see how feeding is going and what we're doing on that front. So until then, see you at the weekend video. Take care.